welcome to the Oz and Fenris podcast episode 5. Yes, not the Oz and Minnie podcast this week because Minnie is on holiday, having fun with herself in the depths of Spain. The deep, deep depths of Spain. And by the way, we are joined by our co-host and sponsor, Fenris.
I was waiting for you to say my name. I was going to say how long it would take. Hi, I'm Fenriswolf.
Yes, and today we are sponsored by Biosweep UK Limited. Biosweep UK Limited provides services in decontamination, including the removal of odours, bacteria, viruses, VOCs, mould spores, and fungal hyphae. Long-lasting antimicrobial treatments, mould remediation, and air and surface sampling. And today we'll be talking about fur meats with our two guests. Guest number 1 being Finbar.
Hey.
And we have a new guest on board this week with Wolfen.
Woohoo! A woo.
Yay, the most typical furry greeting.
You pretty much hear that a lot at
How it
Fenris.
greets everyone.
Yes, and talking about typical furry greeting, how do you greet your people in fur meets? How do you normally greet your people in fur meets? That's a very odd way to start, but sure, we'll start with Finbar. How do you greet your people?
Well, the way I greet people at fur meets is that I sit in the corner, say nothing, then leave. But on a serious note, I'm very normal. I usually, if it's someone I know, I say hi. If it's someone I don't know, then anything could happen, to be honest. But I don't really use fairy greetings unless it's used in the right setting. Well, I say setting, it's a fur meet, but at the right moment.
And we'll go to Wolfen. How do you greet your sods in a fur meet?
I guess it depends on the person. If I know them, then I give them a bit of a silly greeting, or I usually joke around and pretend I don't know them, but I say like hi and give them a hug, and then with like other people that I don't know, I just probably say the usual like hi there, I'm Wolfen and stuff. I get a little nervous sometimes, but other than that, I just greet people that way. Certain people, in particular, Brick, one of my friends, who I greet him with a slap in the face.
Because that's normal.
Because that's normal.
That's
No.
normal.
Does that work like the longer the time between you two seeing each other is the harder the slap?
Oh god, I don't like to slap anyone as hard unless they piss me off. No, but I give him like a light tap or something like that. So just go, bang, slap him in the face.
A small tap.
Small little tap in the face. Yeah,
A love tap.
A love tap.
love tap.
All I could say is don't
Give a
ask how
love
I
tap.
greet Minnie.
Yes. Oz, how do you greet Minnie?
Yeah.
With a very bad joke,
Yes.
a tongue stuck out, and probably a hug and maybe a bit of a nudge and small play fighting. A lot of play fighting.
When I met Minnie, I greeted her with a bear hug.
You lifted her.
I lifted her off the ground. She asked me to when I first met her.
Although to be fair,
I
you
did.
could have anyway.
Well, yeah.
Talking of which, for people who are not named Minnie, how do you greet your people?
For people who are not named Minnie, you mean me.
Yes.
I just go up and say hello, and if it's people I know, then sit down and have a chat. It's usually we just talk about why I haven't been to meets It's normally how the conversations start.
Well, you will be.
Just the usual. Saying hi, how you doing? Blah blah blah. If I know him personally, ask work and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm just sporadic, and I don't really know what I do at the time. That's pretty much how that goes.
Fair dues. Fair dues. I mean, for people not named Mini, for my case, I know that I greet them with a hello. I greet them with a slight grump sometimes because I was on crutches, and that's how I used to greet people with, I'm here now.
Hmm.
Other times it would just be a small hello, or how's the weather, or who have you done? Um, or anything new, or it depends. There are a plethora of options to greet people. And personally, when I was new in fur meets, I was just trying to greet only greeted people who I had friends of friends. It was usually the connection of friends of friends. So talking of that was a very weird segue, but talking straight into that segue, how did you guys cope with your first fur meet? I mean, all I can say is my first fur meet was a. I was basically terrified internally because
Mhm.
I I was in a situation where I would be in a bar. I don't normally go to bars because when I do go to bars, it's normally a Weatherspoons and having a small drink with some friends. It's a
That's
small
because
gathering.
Weatherspoons is the best.
It
It's
is
the
the best. It's a
cheapest.
national treasure.
Mhm.
It is the good cheap. It is the home place of the microwave.
It
um,
is.
yes, and so to go from there to usually a gay bar, um, and meet people and see people in their element, it's a bit of a culture shock in a sense. So we'll start with Fenris actually. How did you cope? How did you deal with your first fur meet?
You always got to start with the disaster story, really. Um, no, my first fur meet was Coventry, June of last year. So,
Yes.
I'd met some people on one of the uh, met up with them and a couple more in Coventry because it was also her birthday at the time. We spent some time birthday things, then went to the Coventry Fur Meet for about 2. By then, I'd met a few people, and I enjoyed myself, but to take this person home, and then I just decided like my day was ruined. But my first actual proper spending with the furs, I think, was Birmingham, and sorry, Chloe's trying to whisper things to me, and I can't hear what she's saying.
That's fine. But yeah.
Yeah, because Shadow came with me on that one. So she's jogging my memory. So my first proper fur meet was Birmingham. Last Shadow. Last week's podcast? You on last week's or the week before? Something like that?
Last week's.
Last week's. So Shadow, who was on the podcast, is my fiance for anyone who. We both went to the 2018 Birmingham first meet, and we had such a really, really good time. And I think that's when I also know who he was, even though I told him he know. And that's basically how that went.
Oh yeah, we met when we went to Birmingham. Wait, was it? When did we meet?
It was it was Birmingham. I think. No, I think it might have been the August one we actually met because you and I had been on the One June.
We're remembering dates, and that's a great stuff.
Dates. Yeah, I don't remember dates that well. But
No,
yeah.
neither do I,
No,
including
it
my own
was
birthday
it was
sometimes.
that where everyone went to the bridge and it was a really hot. Saw you lagging behind and I started
Oh
speaking
yeah,
with you. That's like, oh my God, you're. We'd been talking for months on end.
online, and then it's like, "Hi,
Hi.
I'm the slow photographer because my knee is horrific."
Yeah, I remember that. Anyway, let's move on to Wolf.
Wolfen,
Oh, me.
yes.
Mine. I don't know whether mine's interesting or not, but not in a way that I think it's not interesting, but you know, in a way that things happened on my first fur meet. Um,
No, it was May 27th.
what was it? It was Derby fur meets, and I think it was the very first Derby fur meets that I went to. So Derby fur meets were just being started up. So I heard about it, and I thought, okay, I'll head to Derby for a bit. Seems as I had some time off from the army and stuff, so I took advantage of that and just went to a fur meet. And then what happened at first is that no one showed up for an hour at the venue that we were scheduled to meet at. But then one person showed up, and we just talked for like half an hour, and then said he wanted to go to Greg's and everything. So we got Greg's, and then came back, and there were like 5 other people there. Just and we were only gone for 5 minutes, and they were just there. So it's like, where were you guys? Like, we're just waiting at the train station for you, but I obviously already left there to get to the venue. And now that everyone was there, we went to, I think it was like we went to a Weatherspoons actually, and when we got there, it was full. So for some reason, we had to stand outside. We had to stand outside at first, and it started chucking it down, and we couldn't get back inside. So we were standing out in the rain with a drink and with our fursuits in our suitcases. So we just had to let them get wet for some reason, and it was horrible. So it was an interesting day after that because the meet only lasted about 5 hours or 4 hours, and everybody left. But I was still up for like going places and everything. And so another fur came by to look after me. He was quite sweet, and he took me to a bar and stuff like that. And we just basically had a one-on-one fur meet, to be honest. Uh, um, and it was all right, I guess, for a first meet, but
It,
not too. It wasn't too shabby.
say an unconventional approach to the first Fermi situation,
Yeah,
certainly, yeah.
I guess. No, I'd consider it my first fur meet because there were some furs there, but there was the um, I think it was Manchester fur meet that I first went to my big one instead of like a small startup one. So Manchester, I guess I can consider my first fur meet because there were a lot more people there. It was a lot more coordinated, and a lot of people took a liking to me there, which I was sort of uncomfortable with some of them, but they were all right.
A
Um,
likening. How extensive?
yeah, a liking, not a likening.
Fair
Um,
dues.
it was just yeah, that was it, I guess.
I guess. I mean, uh, at least your first fur meet wasn't Brumfurs. Well, first official fur meet wasn't Brumfurs, which
No.
is like the second largest in behind London
Yeah.
Furs, because having your first fur meet as London Furs would probably be, because it's so large. It would be terrifying, honestly. And that nearly became my first fur meet, but it didn't. So I was lucky there.
No. I knew that one of the Derby Furs was going, so I thought I'd go with them to Manchester,
That's
and
good.
I ended up making a lot more friends in Manchester. So that was great, and I still talk to them today. Even though it was like, um, I think about 3 or 4 years ago, so I'm still talking to them now.
Wait,
And they're all
you're talking to people in the furry fandom, and I've not even for as long as I've not even been in the furry fandom. I love that. Makes me
yeah.
feel young for the first time in ages.
Yeah, I've been uh I've been a furry for like I say 5 or 6 years, and obviously I don't consider myself a grey muzzle because I guess you'd have to be over like what 30 or something like that.
Over
I don't
like 60.
know. Yeah, a
Seriously, over
veteran.
30? Really?
I don't
People
know.
people are 30 and they still have a youthful 30.
Yeah.
For me, I
Uh,
was classed a grey muzzle for anyone over the age of 50.
oh,
Fair
okay, yeah,
dues. Talking
like
of
50 or
talking of
70.
grey, when Finn grows grey hairs, it'll be on the muzzle because he has a beard. Talking of the beard, how was your first fur meet, Finn?
First technical fur meet or official fur meet?
Official fur meet, because the first technical one was just meeting me in London.
That was true. Okay,
So
so
we're
my
talking about first
first
official.
official fur meet was about last year. I think it was late August, early September time. And it was Brumfurs, and it was very scary. It was definitely a massive culture clash because, like, I'm a closeted furry. My parents have no idea, and I never travel. And then this time, I was traveling away from my hometown, which is like in the middle of nowhere, to Birmingham. So I had to use an excuse and saying that I was meeting uni friends. And when they
Remember
searched up
this.
that we were going to a gay bar, my mum was saying, "You do know that you're going to a gay bar, right?" And I was like, "Oh, I did not know that." So it's like, I got away with it.
Somehow.
So yeah, I went. Oz was there,
I was
as
the
we
one
met
that took you.
beforehand. Yeah, Oz took me. Completely terrified. I pretty much clinged onto Oz for the majority of it.
Literally.
Literally, yeah, literally, like not leaving your side, which I
I
do
think
feel quite bad for. But
no. To be fair, it was even. I was cuddling basically two people for over the course of the whole meet.
yes, and I remember you sat on my lap as well.
This is what good friends are. Do.
Yes. But yeah, in the end, I did make a friend,
That
which
was
I
not
was very
named
happy
me.
with, and I also did feel kind of welcome because I managed to hold the flag while we were doing the first week walk.
Yep, I remember that. That was funny.
Yeah,
I think
but yeah, I did kind of feel welcome, but it was really scary. And of course, as my first meet, I've also been to Knott's Fairs, which I personally think is a lot more friendlier and it's even more welcome.
I mean, it
But
is a
yeah,
smaller meet though, just
yeah,
to point out,
exactly.
because bigger
Although it
meets
is
can.
growing in size quite
Yes,
rapidly.
I was going to say bigger meets can be a bit more quote unquote scary because of the scale and because of the size, and
Mm,
people tend to stick around their groups more in larger meets because of the sheer size of them.
yeah.
Personally, my first fur meet was Brumfurs, quite a lot further back from you. I don't remember when. I was not. No, I don't know if I was on crutches or not. No, I was on crutches. It was quite interesting because I entered and I was brought there by people who I knew, and it was fun. I was nervous the whole way round. I did sit in with my friends in the corner at one, for most of it, but there was times where I just started. I felt okay. Let's see what I can do. I can probably say hello to people, interact with them, with like interact with fursuiters, and then speak to them outside of fursuit afterwards or whatever. Uh, the fursuit walk, however, is normally where I come to shine because I have a DSLR camera, which means that I have an inherent advantage. I know it sounds weird, but when you have an inherent advantage, make use of it. Like, if you have a big camera, use it. Because it will help you, you'll be able to talk to people by, asking, oh, is this a good shot? Or is that a good shot? Or do you want to take a photo here? And then you start interacting with people a bit more.
It is a
Take.
good way. It is a good way of doing that because I too have a DSLR, and I did photos at the cover meets and the Birmingham meets, and it is a good way of talking to people because you're not just gonna talk to them about something you're gonna think of the top of my head. You've got an object in your hand.
Exactly.
It's kind of like an icebreaker. Can I take some photos of you? Are these good photos? Do you want these? What's your social media? And we can send them to you and everything. So it is a good way of starting a friendship. That's basically what I did.
And it's also what I did, although nowadays I apologise profusely on every single person who I've not sent a photo to for the past, half a year, for the people at Brum Furs, Cov Furs, London Furs, and Knots Furs, because I've stopped uploading anything from my DSLR that's not relating to my other fandom, which is my um, transport fandom, which also this podcast is also sponsored by the WLTM Transport blog, um, covering London and the home counties for their buses, trains, and public transport. We actually had a post come out today, so visit them at the website www.wltmtb.co.uk. That's their secondary sponsor, WLTM Transport blog. And enough from the sponsor.
Sweet beans.
Yes. After the first Fermi, it is, you get that as the first hurdle. It is the first thing that you have to face, and some people think, have to learn. They learn to experience, and then they realize, oh, it's something that I'm not necessarily into, but they don't mind speaking in a small groups and stuff like that. And people just go. Some people go to fur meets just to meet with their own friends, have a small talk, and just sit down. And it's just an easy, convenient way to get them to speak to people they know. On the flip side, you have people who go to fur meets to, you know, enjoy themselves, interact with people, and we got ranges of interaction from just uh, saying hello to full-on fursuiting. I mean, talking of fursuiting, we actually have two sods here who fursuit. We have Wolfen and Fenris.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
and
Yep.
we will start with Wolfen.
Mhm.
How are your What would you describe your experiences fursuiting?
Oh,
And well, more specifically, your first fursuiting experience
on my first one,
in a fur meet.
in a Fermi, I wasn't too nervous. I was pretty fine, putting a head on and stuff around the people I knew that were like me and stuff. Uh, so I did that, but then they mentioned a walk and stuff, and I I thought about it for a bit because I wasn't sure whether to go out in public with it because because to be honest, my first fursuit wasn't really that good. So I was a bit unsure about wearing it outside in the public because it was so hot outside that day. And to be honest, I was a bit protective of it because it did cost me a lot of money for a suit that's not really very well made. So I was still protective over it. But it wasn't too bad that day, like half an hour into the walk, because it got cold, like really cold, and I didn't bring a jacket with me, so I pretty much didn't have many layers on to keep my entire body warm. And my fursuit head was actually cooking my head. No,
Cooking, not a fry up.
not really, no, but as in it was very hot inside, and I just couldn't deal with it at one point. I had to take it off and stuff, and someone told me, hey, I think he was a little bit of a nutcase, but he said, hey, aren't you supposed to have that on and stuff, and entertain the kids and everything, and me being a bit of an edgy. Oh, sorry.
That's the
Oh,
irony.
You verbally tried to put out a fire with petrol there.
That's the irony, because one can actually use the first word to mean an illegitimate child. But as you continue,
right.
Like me.
I don't know. I think my whole story was thrown in the trash after that.
but
No.
I presume yes, someone who wasn't nice.
Long story short, my first fursuit experience was hot, sweaty, and I almost passed out.
Sounds like a perfect evening with Minnie. I'm joking.
What? No, it was just
that sounds like the evening that Minnie is currently having on holiday. Meanwhile, with Fenris, how was your first fursuiting moment? Wasn't it Coffers?
It was cover.
Was it the Coffers that you drove me up?
Yes, yeah.
Ah,
it was
lovely.
it was a cover. I picked you up from your home, and we drove to
Coventry.
Yeah, we drove to Coventry. I remember the conversations in the car going on a Mino call. Was it a Mino?
Yes, it was a Mino call
from my car.
From the wireless through the car.
With the Bluetooth from my car, we were on a call, so that was funny. And it wasn't that the day that I actually picked up Aether, my fursuit head?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was, and I found the head.
Yeah, it was half made by another Covfurs goer,
attendee.
Casper.
Yeah, Casper. Yeah.
By any chance,
yes.
Was this Furmeets the nights that you drove Oz
Yes,
to my
it
house?
was.
Yes. Yeah. You wanted Oz, or Oz wanted to come visit you, so me, Shadow, and Oz went to Finn's at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning.
It was
I think it was
it was 11. 10, 11.
It was 11.
It wasn't midnight. You got back to the south coast for about 1.
Yeah, it was crazy. That was a good day.
That was a good.
No, my first experience. Sorry, it was spent repairing Aether, putting a tongue in, installing LEDs in the mouth and eyes, and then I managed to get it ready in time for the fursuit walk. So that was my first fursuit experience out in the public. I was a little nervous at first. The thing was, I had head and tails, arm sleeves, so I kind of hid my hands in my jumper to try not to ruin the magic, as the term goes. But it was okay. I didn't get a lot of response from the public. There are other fursuits that are out there that were a lot better than mine. They were getting all the attention, but it was fun it was fun doing it, just to have the experience. Like Wolfen said, fursuiting, you get hot, you get sweaty. It's crazy how hot it gets, and it was quite a warm day, if I remember,
Yes,
in
I think so.
Coventry.
Yeah.
It was quite a hot sunny day. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. To be fair, I haven't worn Aether in about 6 months now. Haven't been to a fur meet in a while. I'm dying to get back into it.
You better change that then.
I do miss suiting Aether. He now has paws and arm sleeves. So that's another good thing.
Nice.
But yeah, no. First suiting experience, it went pretty well. The other first suiting experiences afterwards went smoother. Got photos done. I do need some more photos. I think the main lot of photos I got from Aether was from Sutton Fur's Summer Party 2018. Or was it the Winter Party 2018? One of the two.
Yes.
It's the I don't know if you've seen it's the photo of me in the ball pit with a ball in my mouth and so yeah, that was my first stone experience.
Lovely. I know Finn has an interesting, well, not necessarily a fursuiting experience, more like a costume experience. Please explain your lovely Chinese shark.
Well, basically, I found this shark on Amazon.
You were
And
speculative
it
shopping.
It was, if you know Katy Perry, in one of her dance routines.
This was the Super Bowl halftime show a few years ago where Katy Perry had two shark costume dancers, and the left one was a bit errant, shall we say?
Yes, the infamous left shark, and I became the left shark, and I bought it. It was probably the best purchase I've made. That's like hobby related. And I took it to Knott's Furs this one time. Well, I say this one time. I've taken it to Knott's Furs, I think, on a total of 3 times now. And I want to say I didn't actually get that hot, but then again, I'm talking about like January, February. Yeah, it was good fun. I managed to get a free drink because I was singing and dancing to Baby Shark while wearing this amazing costume.
Yes,
which I'm
I
very
remember
proud of
that.
because I never turned down free food or drink.
I know.
But yeah, I did notice that just by putting the suit on, you get a lot more attention to someone that's like just there to experience the meet, which was kind of expected. But yeah, it was really good fun, and I have no regrets.
I know you have no regrets because you had a free drink.
Yes, exactly.
Wait, what?
Although it doesn't pay for the whole price of the suits.
Yes, the suit cost how much?
Including shipping, about 50 quid.
Well, in comparison to proper fursuits, that's, shall we say,
that's pretty good,
peanuts. It's like buying KP peanuts against a whole load of Costco cashews. A large amount of money difference. I've not fursuited. It's very simple. I've tried.
You have a tail though.
I have a tail, and that's got its own tail. But tish. Actually, no. It should have been two cymbals and a drum fall off a cliff. Boom.
Wow.
We need a soundboard for this podcast.
We do. I do also need a soundboard for a lot of things.
We just need a soundboard on us all times, especially in real life. You can just press a sound for relative situations.
I do have a Brooklyn Nine-Nine soundboard, for obvious reasons.
Oh God.
9-9. But do you guys really want me to share how I got my tail?
Yes.
Go on then.
Shortest version of the story. I was thrown it. It was thrown at my face. Long story. I was at Scousefurs and sitting down on the couch, I had crutches because typical me, I had crutches due to a knee dislocation. So sat down, and then one of my friends, we were just talking, and then for some apparent reason just like said, "Does anyone want?" He said, "Does anyone want this tail? Does anyone want this tail?" And I was just like, "Huh?" Because I was slightly out of it because I have a tendency of being very tired at fur meets. All of you will agree that I do have a tendency of being tired at fur meets.
Yeah, I've seen it myself.
I think Finn's seen the Finn and Wolfen have seen the largest extent of how tired I can get on fur meets.
Yes, to the point of sleeping.
Actually, last Knots Furs I actually snored.
Yes, you did.
Yes, on my boyfriend, who also slept. But yes. Anyway, I was pretty tired, so I couldn't get up. I was already on crutches as well, and so he threw the tail at me and said, "It's yours now." And I'm like, "Sure, what?" I was obviously still confused, and then and then one of my friends helped me get the tail on, and yeah, tried a little wag. It was weird, but I use it now all the time for fur meets because it's just a way to get into the quote unquote furry mode. Because most times prior to fur meets, I'm out taking photos of transport. I'm doing photography, so I'm not in a mood, like I'm not in a set mindset to be, interacting with furries and stuff. I'm normally, because when I'm doing transport photography, when I'm not with friends, I'm headphones on, camera out, snap, snap, snap. But with a Fermi, I'm obviously headphones down, around my neck, and camera still out. London furs with a tie. All other fur meets without a tie. Um, that's just how it works for me, I guess. And snap, 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 badge on. But yeah, that's the closest I can get to fursuiting. I have tried a fursuit head on. It's very hot. I do have a tendency to expel heat quite a lot, which does lead
So
to
you're
me.
a human radiator.
Yes, I am,
You are.
A
and
bit
I
like me.
I've
have
experienced
warm
that
hands.
Same with me.
firsthand.
Yeah, I have very warm hands.
Yeah, my boyfriend can barely sleep with me right now because I'm so bloody hot.
Perfect. So he has to sleep
In
slightly.
in the temperature wise, you mean?
Yes, in the
Yeah.
temperature rise. I
Well,
mean,
because it's so hot and humid outside that adds to how like hot my body can get. Temperature wise and everything. It's like we can only spend like 5 minutes cuddling and then already we're baking stuff. So he's melting and I'm all right. So I have to like sleep further away from him so I don't cook him or anything.
aww.
We
But
kind of have a similar issue. We also, our room isn't that big. We've got a vivarium with a bearded dragon in it, and
oh
we've got
god,
computer and monitors and games consoles in here, so
oh
it
Jesus,
can get pretty toasty in it. And we're upstairs.
oh my god, that is
Are
gonna
you
yeah,
also
that's
south
gonna add to a
facing?
lot of it.
Let me think. No, we are east facing.
Ooh, toasty, toasty mornings.
Yes,
Yes.
very.
Oh,
Jesus.
I'm lucky. I've got a north facing room. Very lucky. It's
I
so cool in the summer and it's so warm in the winter because I'm weird. Also, I do have that, which also means that one, it precludes me from fursuiting because I am scared I will overheat anyway. Like from a minimal amount of exposure from fursuiting. Yes, I will get used to it, but the point is, I can't. I just don't want to get into that situation. And secondly, I don't envision myself fursuiting because fursuiting is not necessary for everyone. It's a good way to get into your own character and basically be the character that you play, that you portray. Um, I just I don't really portray Oswick as such when I'm at fur meets because if I were to fully portray Oswick, I would have a lot more money. It's very simple because the story behind Oswick does include a lot of money. Obviously, with our first fur meets, we've already covered how we feel. But just as a question now, for you guys, we'll start with Finn. What would you say to a prospective new, sometimes young fur who will be going to their first fur meet in due course, whether that be Saturday's Knots Furs or anything of the sort?
Um, well, I can say something that I would want to say to my past self, but I know won't work for everyone. But is
Drink
be
less.
comfortable like going out and saying hi. Like, will be comfortable getting uncomfortable and going out there and saying hi. And of course, I know that it can be very hard for a lot of people. So I was probably say to if you're going to fur meets, try and find someone to go with, or like get to know someone that's is going there.
Beforehand, I'm guessing, like via online
Oh
channels
yeah,
or
via online. Like
yeah,
when I went to Brumfurs, I met up with Oz first,
yeah.
who then took me to Brumfurs.
I mean, for each of my first fur meets, like when I say each of my locational first fur meets, I always went with someone. For example, I met up with someone prior to Brum Furs. I met up with the same person prior to Scouse Furs. I met up with someone prior to Cov Furs. I met up with yeah. I also met up with you, Finn, prior to my first Knots Furs. I think.
Oh right.
I think it was, yeah, it was you, Finn, prior to my first Knots Furs. And my first London Furs was Selgorm. Yeah. So yeah, I had to have people that I knew who were going to the fur meets to meet up prior to going to the. I mean, I also knew Wolfen prior to going to my first Knots Furs, so that was also helpful as well. Thanks, Wolfen.
You're welcome.
um, Talking of which, actually, Wolfen, what would you be the biggest sort of like the first thing you would advise to a young, when I say young, as in like person who's 16 or something like that, or like just
Oh,
someone who's going to their first fur meet? What would you advise them?
advise them. Oh God. I mean, I'll try to be original here. I don't want to say the usual stuff, but I'd say, like, ask if anyone that they know is going to be there, so that if they get a bit too nervous about going to new people or anything, they can talk to the person that they know, and maybe they can introduce them to new furs and stuff. And if you go into your first fur meet and there's no one there that you know, try to build up some confidence. Maybe I don't know. Maybe go and get something to eat first or drink, and then head to the venue where most of the furs are situated. Um, and just you know, um, stay interested whilst you're there. Like if there's any like events going on there, like I don't know, there's a pool table, or there's if it's at a gaming lounge like the Notspurs is, um, and then sit down and just have a nosy round at what like people are playing and stuff like games, and um, if anyone's doing art, just compliment them on their artwork, and maybe interact with them and say, I really like your art and stuff, and um, you may get introduced to more furs when you start talking to one, and then it becomes two, three, four, five. The numbers go on and stuff. So just uh, you know, take a deep breath if you're feeling really nervous, and just walk in, look all confident, and you know, and then you'll get settled in. No, um, very soon. I'd
Yeah.
say. I guess that's my kind of advice on it. Um, I mean, obviously, I say to not like take it all up or anything, but that's how I see it as a way of getting through your first fur meet, and you know, going to your first fur meet.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, I know that furries are a lot more open to speaking to new people in comparison to other fandoms that I deal with. Um, they are much more re- uh, receptive to new people. And yeah, I've gained. There are some times where I've gained friendships through just being in the vicinity of a conversation, and then just sort of like not necessarily butting in, but like they ask me for something, just as like, you agree that this person doesn't look, as a joke. But sometimes I get dragged into jokes, and that's how I meet people. It, and honestly, I because of the way I started my first fur meets, I had crutches. So honestly, I use like what my advice would be to use what you have as an advantage, something that's distinctive, something that you've got. It like you don't have to necessarily be you have to be have a certain level of confidence to go to a fur meet in the first place, because my God, it is a massive culture shock if you've not been into a large gathering of people of similar liking before. Then go into that. I had a bit of a head start because I go to bus rallies and and train events and stuff. So I was sort of less I was less sort of scared of going into a place full of many people, but I was more scared of going to a place full of people who were furry, because it was just like it's a new fandom in my case. But again, my advice is use what you've got to an advantage. If you've got a DSLR camera, or even just like a small camera, ask fursuiters if you want to take photos. Go around and get get. If you take photos, you ask them for their social media, and as stated before, that leads to conversation. Crutches, use it as a. I personally use it as a source of complaint. Also, you can gift crutches to help people crutch fight, or fight with long plastic versions of lightsabers. Um, those are fairly niche examples, but I'd say if you have something that's unique, embrace it and take it forth. You don't have to blag about it all the time, but you do have to make it sort of known. It's like part of it has to be like, if you make yourself unique, people will remember you, and whether it might be something you accidentally say in terms of like as a joke, or something it's like a gaff, or something you do. You don't actually have to go out proactively to do this, but you know, other than that, other than going to see, going with people that you know, or if you don't know anyone, try and have an air of confidence to talk to people. My advice, if you're new, is don't be scared to talk to someone. Like, it might be hard for someone for you to talk to someone, but my advice is people are nicer than you think. People aren't going to pounce on you yet, but people aren't going to pounce on you um, because you're new. If there are some time, and be prepared to have things like have conversations not go too far, because there are some furs who don't necessarily are receptive, aren't necessarily receptive to new people, but there are others who are very receptive to new people, and it really just depends on whoever you meet. And meeting person A or person B, you don't know yet, but meeting person A could be better than meeting person B, because person A ends up, being a really close friend. You don't know. You really don't know. But you really don't know. And the only way to know is if you try. Because if you don't try, you will not know.
Try
And it will
everything.
be a load of what ifs. But once you try, at least you know, oh, I now know not to do this, I will do this instead. Because if you make the mistakes, at least you'll know what to do better. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to approach people. And don't be afraid to, you know, be to use what you've got as an advantage. I mean, like,
Mm.
if you let's say have a camera or whatever like that, it's
Or a left shark costume.
or a left start costume, yeah, whatever it is, it can be something like that, or a Nintendo DS, just something that will get people going. That it these sort of unique things can also be very good conversation breakers, starters. If you break a conversation, that's a different story. So yes, Fenris.
I'm still here. Hello.
Somehow, I'm joking.
Haven't fallen asleep just yet.
Just yet. How? What advice would you give to to someone who's going to their first fair meet?
I Finn Wolfen said about asking people on social media, especially if you follow the group chats on like Telegram, Amino, Discord. It's just if you got friends on there, just speak with them and say, "Look, I'm looking to come into the fur meet. I'm nervous. Can you come with me? Can you meet me? Maybe meet up with someone else away from the venue first, so you can go in together rather than going in, seeing a load of people, trying to find your friend. You might stress yourself out a little bit. But I wouldn't be concerned. Don't be too concerned about trying to meet everyone on your first meet. Just try and meet some people. Try and make some friends, even if it's one. You're one friend up. You can't really lose if you just make one friend. And act like yourself. Don't try and act like someone else or make it too complicated for yourself. So when you do act like yourself, people go, "Oh, this isn't actually the person we met." And just have fun with it. My way of having fun with it is fooling around. Cuff furs, they'll have live music on, and sometimes when the Mimi songs come on, like "Take on Me" by Aha, I do the was it the weird run with the arms up, going side to side, like you see in the Source Filmmaker movies. I don't know if you've seen them on YouTube. I absolutely love them. I got a train started of about 5 or 6 people doing that at the first meet. That was really funny. It's mate, yeah, just have fun with it. Make friends. Don't too much about making loads of friends. On your first meet, make one or two. That's that's all you can really do. It's it's a little bit worrying seeing new people come in and they'll sit in a corner and watch everyone and not having the courage to get up and speak to someone.
If you see someone like that, I would say try and go up to them and get them to interact or something. Say
Yeah.
hi to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I do it on occasion. If I see someone sat in a corner to themselves, kind of, I want to say looking sorry for themselves, but kind of looking a little bit down, I'll walk up to them and I'll talk to them. I'll just ask them what's up. If there's anything on their mind, if they need help with anything. That's really it. Find some people. If there's people doing artwork and you're an artist, go up and speak to them about their art. See what inspires them. And maybe they might inspire you to do more. If people are selling art, have a look. Even if you can't afford to buy it, have a look, have a browse, compliment them. Compliments tend to go a long way these days. People tend to forget that.
There's the human
Exactly.
touch.
The human touch.
Well,
That's a
actually,
lovely way of putting it.
yeah, it is the human touch.
The metaphorical touch, not the physical touch. Some people don't like being touched.
Like early first fur meet me, but
Yeah.
yes, as opposed to late fur meet me or drum
Yeah.
furs after like the second
He
meet.
loves to touchy.
That sounded wrong. That sounded wrong. No, I just
Mr.
I'm
Touchy.
sorry.
yeah, because there are certain friends who I used to just hug for quite a long while in the fur meet.
Yeah.
That does happen. Be prepared for long hugs from other people, because you never know, it might end up being you and your other half doing long hugs. Sorry, not Spurs.
Keep this safe for work. Keeping it safe for work.
It is very safe for work. It's just sorry, not Spurs, for just continually cuddling my boyfriend for quite some
There's
time.
nothing wrong with that.
I know, it's all safe for work. It's fine.
Cuddles are the greatest.
Yes.
They are.
Especially when you're not going to bake your partner.
That's true.
Wolfen, I have the
That's
same issue,
funny.
by the way.
No, I'm not really that fond because my partner knows when to tell people that they're getting a bit too much.
Yeah.
I had times where I've like had to tell them and stuff because my partner is a lot more skinnier and shorter than me. And so I've oftentimes had to tell like people that are much taller and much larger than him to knock it off because they've been a little bit too I don't know,
Over
grabby,
friendly.
Heavy.
over friendly, heavily friendly, yeah.
Yes, we'll go heavy. Yes.
Stuff like that. He asked me like if he asked me a question not long ago that if someone what was it? If someone asked him or tried to do anything with him, and I saw that going on, would you obviously I'd step in. I'd step in to do something about it and everything if I didn't like what was going on. But as in if they were getting a bit too much to the point where he couldn't do nothing about it because I don't like to use my like I'm not bragging here or anything, but I don't like to use my combat skills that I learned when I was in the army in the public or on anyone else because it makes me look like a bad person to me, and I don't like to reminisce it. So, but if it ever did come to the point where it got a bit too much or he couldn't say anything to make them stop or anything, and they wouldn't stop him because I was saying I would, you know, uh, do something about it rather than just tell them to stop. And if they don't, oh god, I don't know where it would go from there, but probably
Yeah.
tell a staff member or something or someone in charge of the meet, hey, this guy's being really rude and quite creepy towards my boyfriend, and he's not liking it, and and the guy is not stopping. And so I guess I'd
Yes.
deal with it.
Always remember, this is another thing. Always remember, for anyone who's going to furry, always remember, know whenever you're hugging someone or whatever, just know what people's limits are. Some people don't like hugs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people do, but they only like it from certain people. Some people love hugs, but ensure that they are comfortable with it.
Always ask. There was one thing I was going to segue into earlier when I said speaking of cuddling, and then
Always
So
ask.
speaking of cuddling, when it's your one of your first fur meets, and one of the main lovely things about furries is hugs from fursuiters, because
They're great.
it's one of those odd feelings you can't really describe. Always ask the suitor first. Don't unless you're really good friends with them. Yeah, surprise hug them, whatever. But don't do it if you don't know them. Always ask. Some people are comfortable with it, some are not, and just respect them. They can't read that well, as Wolfen can agree with. Peripheral vision just goes out the window in a fursuit head.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It does.
just ask a fursuiter first.
Mm.
I mean, peripheral vision applies to basically anyone, really, because whether they just be someone who is in a fursuit, or someone who just won't be able to turn very well, always ask. Always ask for hugs. Always ask for basically whatever you're gonna do, because you first aim is to ensure that both parties are comfortable with whatever you're going to do, and this applies to
And if
any
you
situation.
if you're going to ask or talk to a fursuiter, make sure you stand pretty much directly in front of them, if not slightly off to the left or right. That's the best way for you to communicate, because you never really know how much you can't see unless you wear a fursuit head. You can literally see dead ahead, partially missing a little bit of the middle, but nothing out the sides.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's also a blind spot immediately in front of you.
Yeah, that's where the nose and the bridge.
Yes.
I had a funny story about on that sort of topic. When I went to Confuzzled 2018, which was like the best con that I've ever been to. I had one moment where someone knew me from FA, where I post most of my fursuit pics and stuff and art. They were quite big, quite a big fan of me and stuff, and it was quite surprising because it's like, well, I have fans, what? So it was a bit weird at first, but it was kind of sweet. Um, but the only problem is that he came up behind me. Um, well, I'll give a bit of a backstory as to where it led to is because I got out the hospital about 2 months, um, prior to that confuzzled, because I had a quad bike accident which broke 3 of my ribs. So I was in the hospital for quite a while, and I went to confuzzled. Some guy came up behind me and hugged me and re-fractured one of my broken ribs, and I had to try and compose myself whilst whilst it felt like I was being stabbed over and over and over again, um, saying hi and how are you doing there and stuff like that. But he really ran up behind me, uh, grabbed me and lifted me up and said, "Oh my God, you're such a cutie" and stuff. Um, and didn't want to have a go at him or anything because I didn't want to seem like a jerk or something. So I just said hi and tried to be friendly as I was, sort of bending down in somewhat extreme pain after he cuddled me so hard, and it it was like that for the rest of the day, and it got to the point where I had to go I had to go to the first aiders, and they gave me some stuff, and it was I I honestly hated that dude for making me feel that way for the rest of the day because I had plans to to go to room parties that night and like three of them or something to visit, but I had to cancel all of them because my chest hurt so badly and stuff. So I had to just go up and sleep it off and wait for the medicine stuff to kick in. And and it was really awkward as well because Gavazzle 2018 is where I met my boyfriend, and I thought I was looking a bit weird because it was still hurting, and I didn't want to like look strange in my opinion. Um, so it was horrible, and that guy I cannot say enough how much I just thought I wish the same thing could happen to him. No, I wish he could feel my pain.
Basically, if you know who you are, you should feel bad.
Yeah.
If you're happening to listen to this now, I hope you
Exactly, yeah. If
Yeah.
he's listening to this
feel bad.
now, then I hope he feels bad because you refractured a rib of mine. That's not going to heal, by the way. I still feel it loose inside.
Ooh.
Ooh. That
Yeah,
just goes
it's
to
not
show,
nice.
do not do anything without abrupt
Do not
warning.
surprise hug suitors.
Yes.
I think that's the moral of the story.
Well, do not surprise anything unless you know the person very well.
Unless it's a surprise birthday party and you shout surprise.
Although
I guess so.
yes,
But
maybe.
we're on about just like field like vision and stuff because
Yeah.
obviously like my situation, what happened there, that didn't go down well. So um, you don't know. It's like you don't know what's happened to the person. Like they could have hurt themselves previously, like me, and they don't want anyone to hug them too hard. So it's like next time, if he ever showed up again, I'd say next time, um, just walk in front of me, like look in front of me, and offer a hug and stuff, and I'll tell you whether I want to hug you or not. I'm not going to hug him again ever, obviously, because he'll probably
Fair enough.
refracture another rib. So I don't want him doing that again.
I mean, yeah, it can be quite bad. I'm not allowed to swear, but it can be quite bad as to how things can develop and how people when you're in when you are yourself, you don't necessarily you won't necessarily know if anyone's gone through something that's like for example gone through surgery and is still recovering or something like that. Like I personally also have a situation. I had a situation where I was recovering from surgery and I was off crutches, but I was still quite weak on the leg, and I had to warn people, don't hug me too hard. I still feel pain, and still and like for example, one of my London furs was the first time I've gone out on like since my surgery, and there was another London furs. It was the first time I'd gone out without crutches. No, not first. It was the first time I went out without crutches. I did that for my boyfriend. I'll be honest, and I had to tell. I even had to tell my own boyfriend, "Don't hug me too hard. My knee is feeling awful." But I'm doing this so I can test myself out. It's, you know, it can be bad. But what I mean, what would you say is the biggest upside you've had from going to fur meets? We'll start with Finn. What would you say is your biggest upside that you've
Biggest upside. Well, it's probably the fact that I've made so many friends just going to these meets, especially that when you go to a meet repeatedly, you usually see people that are local to the meets, and you think, oh, you've met before. Hi. And I've managed to make quite a few good friends through there. So yeah, I think that's one upside of going, especially if you're in a position like,
Oh my
mate,
god.
like this is going to get quite dark, but in a place where like maybe you have like no friends, you may be like lonely, depressed, maybe you've like recently moved, then I think it's a very good way to connect with people. Another upside is that I got a free drink just by dancing in a suit, which I'm pretty happy about, and you also get to meet lots of creative people.
I just want to mention one thing quickly.
Yeah,
A cat's just walked into my room.
yeah. My cat's right next to me at the moment.
No, we don't own a cat.
Oh,
Oh.
Oh.
It's just a random cat. Hello.
So a random pussycat has entered your room.
Yeah, yeah.
This is
Oh,
really unprecedented for the Oz and Mini podcast. We've only had 5 episodes, and all of a sudden we have maybe it's an incarnation of Minnie. Maybe it's
It
Minnie
could
trying
be.
to say hi to the.
oh God, no! Oh no, it's Minnie, or it's my friend Jamie. No, he says, "Oh, I'm gonna stalk you" or something. It's like, "Oh, it's him." Ah.
Why am I now
Hmm.
imagining? Why am I now remembering the citation needed? For those who don't watch citation needed, citation needed is something we sometimes do on this channel. We've done it once, which is where it's a game. Search on YouTube, but basically one of the episodes was where they looked at the Wikipedia article, which involved a spying cat,
Oof.
a listening cat.
Oh God.
Maybe it's the cat. Maybe it's the surveillance cat in your room.
Maybe it's that. Oh God, no, I never thought about that.
Why would the Americans try to go into your house with a cat?
I mean, I don't know. I don't have any secrets on me. I don't know. I have $3 pinned up on my wall.
You actually have $3.
I have $3 pinned up on my wall
Wait,
from
the
that
$3
I
note?
left that I saved or that I forgot about when I got back from Florida.
Ah,
It's just pinned up there. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna leave them there.
I actually have $12 in my wallet, amongst British coins.
Sweet.
I need to change
Oh.
them at some point.
Hmm.
I've done. I mean, just as a disclaimer for people who are listening, for future reference as well. For those, this is we are all in the UK, and we have not
Yep.
experienced any sort of fur meets outside the UK yet, as far as I know.
I went to a fur meet in Germany for a short period. That's about it.
Fair dues. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll change that to we've not done anything in America or in the United States of America, in the North America, South America, Asia, Africa,
No.
Middle East. So we've done actually unique question for you, Wolfen. Now you've mentioned
Mhm.
it. What was the difference between the fur meet that that you went to for a short while in Germany and your fur meets in the UK?
Difference. Not. I'm not entirely sure. To be honest, because uh, well, obviously, there were mostly German furs there. Obviously, I mean, why wouldn't there be German furs there? Uh, but I guess the only difference I could see was that um, I guess they have these events. Germany have these events where they just drink um, so much beer. Like it would be the only thing that they would drink in like a meat or something like that. And most of it was actually quite good. They were we got offered free beer as well. So I only won. We had a beer token, so we got a free beer. Um, and then we took a boat ride, around a certain area of Germany, and that was fun. And we got to go in our fursuits and stuff. So um, it was a really nice day to just um, get out in a suit, and plus it was particularly cold that day, so I could keep my fursuit on for so long at that meet. I swear I had it on for like nearly 7 hours straight or something, which, to be honest, is not recommended. Don't wear your fursuit for that long because you might end up collapsing. Um, but I managed to handle it anyway. So it was quite an experience from the other fur meets like London and Derby and Nottingham furs and Manchester furs, which I've seen all of them just be situated in just one area of the um, you know a place where they're at. They don't go like anywhere else or anything. They just stay in one place. And the German furs, they did like activities and stuff. So there was a lot more interaction and we had a lot more fun uh, with what was there and what was at our disposal. Oh, and another thing, there was a bowling alley, so we went. So we agreed to go bowling as well. So that was pretty much the day in Germany, and that was how I see it was different to the fur meets in the UK.
I mean, there are some fur meets in the UK that do things, quote unquote, after the usual bar and fur walk. Fur walk? Fursuit walk. But, like, for example, go to a dessert place, for example, creams.
Yeah,
But there's nothing like it. And obviously there are some fur meets that literally just go directly to a place, for example, to do bowling or an activity. But you don't normally see things like that. And
mm,
I do, I do wonder if like something like that, not necessarily the free beer, because the beer is something that's very German.
mm,
But yeah, you're doing activities and go
yeah,
going places during a fur meet is something that I would personally like to see, because it's a social event.
yeah,
It's not just, and it I know some people like the socializing in a bar concept, but there's a lot more to it than that. There's
mm,
When you do activities with furs, it obviously in a sense, forces teamwork in some senses. In other senses, there's some competition, but also there's also a lot of conversation. You get to interact with people more. Fursuit walks is, a way to interact with people because you're all congregated in a bunch and you're talking to sods, but there's nothing like doing activities with people.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I'd love to see that more often. I mean, which is why I want uh or whenever I organise some of my friends to meet up, whether it be furry or non-furry, I always want to do something. Whether it might be simple as just eating out, but something something more substantial. I remember like 2 years ago, with my
Hmm.
blog, I organised something with the people who run my blog, the WL7 Transport blog. I asked all the staff, fellow staff, would you want to meet up? And we went bowling. We ate and went bowling. It was a really nice night. Um, we had surprising strikes. I saw my performance decline heavily by bowling, and it was a really fun night. We got to know each other a bit more. Um, we got talking, and like the group, the group of us are friends, but we got closer. We got to know a bit more about each other. We got to see how we were competitively, in a sense. It was fun being competitive, and it was also fun our names being changed constantly on the screen. Yeah, I ended up being called furry at one point. This was prior to me going to fur meets and stuff, so it was quite fun, though. It was fun. And I know some furs do this like privately, but it would be nice if there were more fur meets that would do that with
Hmm.
activities.
That would be nice.
It
Especially with um, we're trying to suggest stuff like that for Derby furs, so that because there is a bowling alley and there is a arcade and stuff, and there's a cinema and there is stuff to do there, but for some reason we don't organize a time where everybody can go, and we really need to rebuild the Derby meets, as me and my friend Calmore have been talking about trying to um, uh, postponing the Derby Fur meets for now until we can actually figure out a way of you know um, building the meets back up and getting gaining a bit more attraction to other people outside of Derby to come to them. And to me, the Derby Fur meets have taken a really big downfall, which is really sad because Derby Fur meets was my first meet. It was doing well at first, and then it took a really big hit when everybody we just noticed that people started leaving, and it got smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where there was only 4 people that showed up to the previous Derby meet last month. Like only 4 people showed up, and that's how badly it's gone downhill. So I think we're just making a bit of an ultimate decision to suspend the meets for now until we can figure out, um, what we can do to attract more people to the meets and what activities people would like to do. So once that's all sorted, we'll reopen the meets, and we're thinking about it quite quickly because Calwell, my friend, is talking to the organisers about it. I'm throwing some ideas out there, and gaining or piquing their interest in certain activities like laser quest or bowling or going to the arcade and stuff. Um, so uh, you know, I hope it does get back uphill, but for now it's not good. The Derby Furmies is not in a good situation. So yeah,
The only way is up, definitely.
That is true.
the only way
It's
is
like
up.
with Milton Keynes. The Milton Keynes fur meets were shut down for a while, and only recently they've opened up again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, they were shut down
I'm
for
yet to
quite a
go to
while.
one.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, it's so close to home that I don't really feel comfortable.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Actually, go on.
Sorry. I was just gonna say that I have been thinking about going to Milton Keynes meet, but wasn't really sure because I stop at Milton Keynes before I get back to Nottingham when I come back from uh, visiting my boyfriend in London because
Wait.
most of the ones that go from London to Nottingham, from Golders Green to Nottingham, is like it stops at Milton Keynes. And I was thinking that seems as it goes to Milton Keynes, I may as well at some point get a coach there and stop there and maybe have a visit because my boyfriend does want to go back to a Milton Keynes meet and he wants me to go as well. So I think he's just waiting on me for confirmation that I'm going.
I mean,
So
Milton Keynes isn't too far away from me. It's the midway point between here and Birmingham. I'm also from London. So
For me, it's
yes,
like a 20-minute drive from my actual house, but due to family reasons, I'm not too comfortable
with that,
going, so I'll have to be really well planned out.
yeah.
It's easy. It's easy for you guys to go to Coventry, Birmingham, London,
Milton Keynes.
Yes.
Milton Keynes, and Derby. I'm from Portsmouth, so
The easiest one is
it's
Southampton.
about 3 hours to get to either
Yeah,
of
it's
them.
not good on your part.
Yeah, Southampton's my closest one, which I do go to on occasion.
Do you know?
But,
I do want to go to one sooner or later though. Southampton.
Well, if you let me know roughly when, if you get the train down to near me, I'll pick you up and we'll go.
But yeah, for me, I think is it like 60 quid for like a train or something?
It's 60. Yeah, 60 quid to.
Yeah, it's a
from
lot.
Nottingham. I know why. I need to ask. I need to ask the sod.
Or I can just do the usual and come and pick you up. Finn can come to you and I'll pick you up from yours.
That'd be interesting.
Yes, that would be good.
That would be interesting. But
And then you only pay me £40 in petrol.
wait, nah, it's 20 quid by train return for me.
No, I know.
So it's.
Oh yeah, do you know what I'm really proud of? Oz knows this, but I managed to get a return train ticket from Milton Keynes to London that I'm going to be using for next weekend, and I got it for 15 quid, and I'm so happy with that.
15 quid.
oh
Yes.
wow,
That's
Because I
awesome.
think that
Milton
is the
Keynes.
cheapest train ticket I've ever got from Milton Keynes to London.
that's sweet. Oh my
I just drive.
I'm just going to check for certain whether that is the cheapest. I do have the I have Ralph BR fares. Also, I have to put this as a disclaimer. My advice for people who are going to you can get super off peak Milton Keynes to London for £13.5. Anyway, return. Actually, that's a single. Wait, that's a travel card fare. What? Sorry, that's a travel card fare, which makes it even worse. Oh my!
The new problem has arisen.
£10.70 return Virgin trains. This is day return, by the way. Return is £16.25 normal. I non-day.
Yeah,
return.
mine isn't a day return. Mine is going back then a day after.
Yeah, £16.25 is the normal ticket. Anyway, we strayed off topic slightly with the Milton Keynes train
Only
stuff.
slightly.
But as we were going back to earlier to fur meets that do have quote unquote other things. There is a fur meet that literally does other things. It's called Barcade in London. There is an entry fee, but that's probably to pay for the arcade use. But it is a fur meet in an arcade where you do gaming things, and
That actually sounds
it
amazing.
is good.
Count me in.
It is
That sounds
good.
pretty-
The organizers in our chats, like in our Telegram chat, our UK first Telegram chat.
Oh.
Yep. Do you know a Dracorum order?
Oh, Draco.
Yes.
Wait,
That was
he
a
runs it.
Draco.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Thanks to him, I went, and it was really good. Um, it Getting home was interesting, but that wasn't my fault. Blame TFL's lovely organisation. Anyway, and Southern Railway with their expanding points. But back to fur meets. I have to put this out for people who are doing who are going to visit fur meets. If you are going further afield for fur meets, always try to ensure that you know what time you're getting there, what time you're getting back. If you're not used to a area, go and get flexible train tickets. If you are not used to traveling by train, go and get flexible tickets. Make sure you ask whatever staff member there are in the stations to help you get there and help you get back. When you're at Fermi and you aren't necessarily sure how to, oh yeah, uh, by the way, Wolfen, you're going now.
Yeah, I've got some stuff to sort out before things happen on Thursday and stuff.
Okay, wait.
That's
Thank you
all.
very much for joining us.
Yeah, no worries.
And
I quite enjoyed talking about stuff here. So
thank you so much.
Thank you for joining
no
us.
worries.
And
No
it'll be up
worries.
on YouTube later on this week. So
Yay! I get to hear how stupid I sound.
you don't sound stupid. It was really
We all have
it
to
was
live with
really
that
good.
mistake.
How do you think I feel? I host this. I have to listen to my stupid voice every week, so go figure.
No, that's fine. No, I'll probably have to be doing that in the future when I, get a job in like digital media and stuff. So I'm working on that. But anyway,
Have
it was
fun.
fun being here.
See ya.
Thank you
Yeah.
for
And
coming.
thank you.
See you guys later then.
See ya. And sorry, as we were saying, just because we just had to say, uh, um, yes, as I was saying, when you're at a Fermi, if you're going away from if you're going home and you don't necessarily know the way to go, if you don't necessarily know how to get there, or always check if there is someone who might be going the same way as you. They might be going further or further away. But if they're on the same train line, always find someone who's going there because maybe they might know a way that's better, faster, cheaper, or not having glasses falling. Um,
Ignore the sounds that may have come from my microphone.
what fell, by the way?
Yeah, it was a can.
Ah, close enough. I said glasses.
I knocked a can over on my desk. I didn't mean to.
Fair dues. It's okay. It's okay.
We can edit that out later.
We could edit a lot of things out. It's fine. It's fine.
The magic power of editing.
The magic power of cutting. That's what.
Cutting.
Cutting. But yeah. Also, thanks, Finn.
Yeah, now
Finn-
now I'm dropping out.
Vin's got to drop out, so
Have
thank you for
fun.
joining
Thank
us.
you for joining us,
No problem.
and see ya.
Bye.
See ya. Uh, as we
Well, it's
both
just the two of us now.
yeah as we both continue got what's happened. What I always say is find someone who's going the same way as you because they may know a better, cheaper way to get there and get back. And or if you know how to train travel, use split tickets. Ensure you try and get the cheapest travel you can get, because and always remember to know your passenger rights, because ultimately you should know that traveling by train is not hard, and it can be cheaper than you think.
Yeah,
So
I,
fur meets can be
I,
closer than you think.
I don't know much as traveling on trains as you do.
Yeah. Which is how
So
I end up going to all these fur meets elsewhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if anyone needs travel advice, speak to Oswald. He knows a thing or two.
Yes. I might have to cover this in a future podcast, but
What traveling?
yes, it would be a very good future podcast.
Listen out for a future podcast to talk about traveling.
Yes.
Probably sponsored by the WLTMTB
Transport blog.
Transport Blog.
Yes. But actually, Fenris. So any final as our two guests had to leave because it is now 22:42. How anything that you want to add to what we've said today about the general topic of fur meats, or anything we've not covered today?
Um, Probably nothing that we haven't covered already. Just if you are going to your first fur meet, just remember, stay calm. There's probably other people there who haven't been there before. There's probably other people's first fur meets. Make sure you speak to people on group chats who are also going. If you've got friends that are going, meet up with them before going to the venue, or always make sure you can travel, get there safely, get back safely. Make sure you eat or have a drink, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, depending on your age if you're legal. And just don't overdo it on your first fur meet or two. Some friends, find a group to hang out with, and just enjoy yourself. And if you see either of us, say hi.
Yes, and we definitely have badges that will show that.
We have badges.
Yes. My anything that we've not added was basically what I talked about with trains. Always ensure you know a safe way to go there, a safe way to get back. Make sure that you are safe in the fur meet. Make sure that other people um, aren't in pain when
Yeah.
you hug them. Make sure you respect other people's boundaries. But other than that, don't be so scared, because people are friendlier than you think. It may
Yeah, I can
seem
agree with
very,
that.
very scary at first, but trust me, it's not that, it's not that bad. It's never as bad as you think it is.
No, exactly. Just don't be scared to get stuck in and goof around. That's what I do.
Same.
And Shadow agrees.
Oh yes, I also agree.
Yeah, you've seen me act like a brat.
Oh yeah, and on that lovely note, we give thanks to our sponsor, our main sponsor, BioSweep Services UK Limited. Um, BioSweep UK Limited provides services in decontamination, including the removal of odours, bacteria, viruses, VOCs, mold spores, and fungal hyphae, long-lasting antimicrobial treatments, mold remediation, and air and surface sampling.
There you go, you nailed it.
Yes,
If anyone wanted to know, that is the company that I work for.
yes.
So if you
Visit their
if you
website.
need any advice, let me know.
Yes, and visit their website at www.biosweep.co.uk. Our secondary sponsor is, of course, the erstwhile well-known WLTM Transport blog. Visit them at www.wltmtb.co.uk. And yeah, I now need to figure out what am I handing over from my right hand to my left hand.
A sock.
It's Tic Tacs.
Tic Tacs.
It's a
From
live
my
handover. I have literally just done it.
from my right hand to my left hand, it's my vape.
Yes.
because that was the closest thing to hand. Okay, any last words?
My last words are thank you to Finn and Wolfen.
Wolfen.
Yes, I am tired. Thanks to Finn and
Oh,
Wolfen, who both came, and we gave thanks already to them as they left, because it is quite late. And I give thanks to our lovely substitute co-host, Fenris,
substitute co-host, occasional guest.
occasional guest, substitute co-host today.
But I have new microphones, so I should be on every week.
Way, yes! That means we have more than two people at least sometimes. And it's the eternal me.
The eternal me.
Yeah, and we give thanks to me. No, we can't do it that way.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you so much for listening, guys and girls, and everyone.
In between.
Yeah. And we bid you a lovely good night.
Good night.